Hangout is live. That's awesome. Okay. Hey, everybody. So welcome. Hey, Run Junkies. We are doing another live Q&A video today, and I just want to make sure that everything is all in its proper place here. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm not staring at myself, because that drives me nuts. Welcome. If you are here already, I want you to go ahead and do something for me. If you would just give me a thumbs up, say hi, introduce yourself, and this is going to be a Q&A today. So if you guys have questions, drop them in, and I will absolutely try to get as many as I can answered. I will say that the last time I went live, I went for 2 hours, and most of you stuck with me for that whole 2 hours. Thank you for that. I won't do that to you again. Okay, we're gonna just try to do this in about an hour. And I do have quite a few questions actually to get us started here. Hi, Kyla, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Lindsay, hello from Toronto. Nice to see you here. A couple of things that I want, like I said, give me that thumbs up if you're here. But I do have a couple of quick shout outs, and I've already left links in the chat if you want to scroll up to that. First of all, Simon over at ShareMyYear, he is another Veda vlogger. He's vlogging every day in August. He gave me a wonderful shout out in his yesterday video. He just was very complimentary. He's talking about his favorite YouTube channels, and I made a very short list. So please head over there. Share the love a little bit with Simon. He is in the UK, and he's a runner. He's got a great channel. So go ahead, check that out. Like I said, I left a link in the chat, and I also left a link in the description. Another quick shout out to, let's see, Holly Gillen, excuse me. She gave me a free consultation about going live, because as much fun as it is, I do have to kind of streamline the process. Holly Gillen, Holly G Studios, she's got a channel over here on YouTube, and she does a lot of video creator consulting. She's doing an amazing outreach program right now, and it's called #100in30. I've left a link to that particular video, how she actually describes what she's doing. She wants to help out for free, a 15-minute consultation via a live chat to help you out if you are a video creator and have questions. She is willing to help you out for about 15 minutes. It was fantastic. I loved every second of chatting with her yesterday. So head over there and check her out. Before I get into some questions, I want to give you a quick update on my training. A lot of folks that I'm interacting with online are training for some kind of Disney race. A lot of them are training for Dopey Challenge. And it's funny because I'm not actually training for that yet, even though most of you guys are in like week 7. I have another 5 weeks before my next race, which is the Arvada Harvest here in Colorado, and that's in about four weeks. So it's a 10-mile race. I am going to use that for proof of time. I have been struggling with, again, I'm not going to call it an injury, but it's definitely been bothering me, a shin problem. But I've only been running 3 days a week, and those runs are highly effective. But I really nailed my tempo run this week. I have to really brag on myself a little bit. I did a 5-mile tempo run. What that means is it's a mile warm-up, 3 miles at tempo pace. So my warm-up is about 13:30 pace. And then the 3 miles in the middle are 10 minutes or so each. I was flying. I was so happy. And then I did a cool down. I just nailed it to the wall, guys. I'm so proud of myself. And I tend to, on those tempo runs, if you've ever done this, you probably know what I'm talking about. You come out of that warm up and you're doing that tempo run, and all of a sudden you're flying. You look down at your watch and you're like, slow down, you're fine, just chill out. So I had trouble just kind of reining the horses back in once I let them out of the barn, but it was great. It was just fantastic week. A bunch of stuff happened on the channel this week. As a lot of you know, I'm vlogging every day in August, and so far so good. I've hit every day, right? As of today, I'm 12 days in. Okay. And let's see. What else? Well, oh, stuff that happened this week. So you guys, thank you. You broke the 600 subscriber mark. Thank you so much. You also broke the 50,000 view mark for this channel. Huge. And in just a few days, we're going to have 200 videos on this channel. That blows my mind. That just bakes my noodle. So let's see who's here. Okay, Random Life Productions. Oh my, 2 hours. Yes, it was a 2-hour live chat last time. Lindsay, hi, you're doing dopey. Supposed to start training a while ago. Yeah. The nice thing about a 26 to 29 week training plan like that is that you do have some wiggle room. Once we start getting into the later parts of August, you are going to want to, make sure that you're trying to get that training in. Lindsay, are you doing dopey Galloway program? Let me know. Steph, hi, nice to see you here. If you guys are just showing up, give me that thumbs up if you like this. If you're here, say hi, introduce yourself. Let me know if you're training for something, or if you're not training for something, let me know from where you found me. I want to get things started off with the first question. I got a question on Twitter from Jeremy, and he asked, can I submit a proof of time to Disney if I would get a better time in another race? It's an excellent question, and I think it's a lot of times it's something that we have, we just kind of take for granted. Well, okay, I've got another race, so I'm just gonna wait and see. My feeling is, and this is just my opinion, I say whatever your best proof of time is, submit it now. Just get it in there. So it's in there. And then take a screenshot of that active.com page. And again, we're talking about Disney races here. Take a screenshot of that active.com page, save it, print it out. Find some way to bring that proof that you submitted proof. Because what you want to do is bring that to the race expo when you go pick up your bib. When you do that, it almost never happens, but sometimes it does, that Run Disney just loses track. Somewhere it gets lost in the sauce, somewhere in the code, and it didn't take when you submit that proof of time. So take a screenshot, print it out. Also, take a either screenshot or print out the results from the official race page of the race that you did. So you can submit a proof of time and then replace it with a better time. The reason I say submit it and just get it done with, you're just better off knowing that it's in there. Okay, if you all of a sudden just life gets in the way and that slips through the cracks, at least you have something that is submitted for proof of time. And if you have a race coming up, what happens if the weather's terrible and they shorten or cancel the race? That won't count. If you get sick, if you get the flu, or if something happens and you can't actually do that race, yes, maybe all things considered, you're gonna nail that race, but what if you don't? So submit the best proof of time you have right now. If you end up with something faster, great. Then you can replace that later, as long as it's before the proof of time deadline. So that is that question. Lindsay, I'm coming back to you. You're looking at that program as you don't really have the financial set to do the Run Like a Mother plans. Right, okay, yeah, the Run Like a Mother plans are pricey. They have a lot of support with it, but yeah, it is a cost to do those plans. The Galloway program is amazing. So you really can't go wrong with that. And especially if you are struggling to get it in, you have 2 weekday runs, 30 to 45 minutes, and then you have a long run on Saturday. Or whenever you decide you're gonna do your long run. That offers up a lot of wiggle room for a busy schedule. So if you can't do it like he prescribes, Tuesday and Thursday, then maybe it's Monday and Wednesday, and then you still do your long run on Saturday or even Friday. The only thing I would suggest for you, Lindsay, is that if you're gonna run, take the next day off of running. You can do more cardio if you wanna do on the bike or the elliptical, do some swimming, but stay off your feet. That's just something that Jeff Galloway says. So whatever your running day is, take the next day off, get back to running. Hope that that helps a little bit. Again, you've got time. We've got 5 months. That's going to go fast though. Okay, next question I had. Again, if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat. I'm just going to kind of go back and forth. I got a lot of good questions from all of my different social media pages. So the next one, Christina Holland actually commented on a video recently. She says that she's training for her first marathon, which is the Disney Marathon. I'm already parched. Noon. Okay. So she asks the question, how much running is too much running? This is a very common question, you guys. She's following the Galloway plan. She's been doing it religiously, and she's running her dog. So she's got a good sized standard poodle. She runs her dog for about 20 minutes a day on the off days, on those off training days. So Lindsay, like I was just saying, you take those, every other day off. Would it be okay to run 5 days a week? How many miles should I be pushing for on non-long run days? So let me go back to, would it be okay to run 5 days a week? Yes, as long as, and Christina, if you're watching, just let me know that you're in here. As long as you are taking those 20-minute runs with your dog when you're just taking the dog out for a run, take those super, super easy. Just really dial back the speed. Don't go too hard. Use those 3 days a week that are actually on the plan and do those a little harder. You can use those 20-minute runs with your dog a lot slower and a lot easier. You could go longer. So for example, if it were me, this is how I would do it. My Monday and Wednesday runs are super, they're crucial to the training. If I wanted to run on Tuesday, I would take it a lot slower, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, a couple minutes slower per mile, just to keep, it's called active recovery. And I'm going to get into that in another video. But if you're running the dog hard on those off days, that could set you up for injury. My suggestion for the non-long run days, how many miles should you be pushing for? I know Jeff Galloway, if you are following a Jeff Galloway program, he suggests 30 to 45 minutes, whatever you can do in that time. It's, for most people, that ranges between 3 to 4 miles. For me, it's about 3 miles, maybe a 5K if I were to do 45 minutes. But that's how I run. I do run 5 days a week, and I manage that by keeping those runs slower. So how much running is too much running? I think running with your dog is great for both of you. And as long as you do that safely, I would say, again, take those off days with your dog really easy, very slow jog. Your pup might not like it, but it's going to be better for all of you if you just keep that heart rate low. That, I think that covers it. 3 to 5 miles on the non-long run days. If you can, my other suggestion, I just kind of came up with this, but if you can, and if you like to do this, maybe instead of running, I don't know if you're comfortable on rollerblades, but that's a really good way to get the dog exercise, and then it's still easy on you. You don't have a high impact. For me, that would just be an accident waiting to happen, but that's just how I feel about that. Okay, Lindsay, thank you so much. You put my mind at ease. Okay, yeah, you're totally fine, Lindsay. Steph, my husband was kicking himself for not taking a screenshot of his POT submission. It's so funny. It happens so rarely without that, screen time, or excuse me, that screenshot. You really can kind of shoot yourself in the foot if you don't bring that with you. If they lose that proof of time, if it gets lost in the sauce and falls through the cracks, and they can't find it and you don't have it, you're just going to end up in the last corral. You worked hard for that proof of time. Make sure that they know that you have it. So any questions, guys? Throw them at me. Give me a thumbs up. I'm so glad you guys are here. Let's see. I hope that answered the question for Christina. Okay, last time, Gerald Resnick asked me a question because he noticed that I was drinking coconut water. Today I'm drinking Noon. I actually, for all of these, I double fist it. So I drink Noon. I don't know what, oh, this is cherry. And I also drink nettle tea. So I double fist it. Okay, so Gerald noticed that I was drinking coconut water last time. And he asked the question, what makes coconut water more hydrating? Why does that work? And what is the big deal? So I had to do some research on this because it is something that I want to know about. I love coconut water just as a flavor. I like it if I'm just sick of regular water or sick of Noon or my tea, you know, whatever. It's just something to mix up the hydration. It gives me something a little more, just a little of variety when I know, especially in the summer months, we need to be hydrating. So coconut water contains potassium and magnesium. These are a couple of the minerals that we lose through sweat. And they're also ingredients that you find in those formulated sports drinks, Powerade, Gatorade, probably in Noon as well, although I haven't checked. The only big difference is that the coconut water is missing the added sugar from, you know, your Powerades and Gatorades, those sports drinks. If you're looking for something that is rehydrating, that is going to replenish those electrolytes, coconut water works. But if you are a heavy sweater, if you sweat a lot, it's not going to do the trick to rehydrate you. Coconut water doesn't quite have enough of it. So you might be better off with a sports drink more than you would coconut water. Personally, I like coconut water, like I said, just as a change up. Especially in the summer months, I will throw it in with some ice and I'll just guzzle it actually. So I love it. If you're looking, like I said, if you're looking for something with less sugar, coconut water is good, and it's all natural. What makes coconut water different from coconut milk is that the coconut milk is actually the shaved meat of the coconut mixed with the water that's in the coconut. So coconut milk is good. I will use it sometimes as a smoothie, the smoothie drink. I usually use almond milk. With coconut water too, you can use it. I have used it as a backup for my smoothies. If I've run out of almond milk and I haven't gotten to the store, I will grab, you know, a carton of coconut milk and dump a bunch in my smoothie. It is higher. Coconut water is higher in saturated fats. So if you are concerned about your heart health, ask your doctor. They might tell you to limit your intake. So in a coconut shell, that's about it. See what I did there? Oh my gosh. Like 10 of you are going to hang up on me right now. Oh, I know. I love Gerald's channel too. He just put up a video this morning. I always look at, it's funny. And I every once in a while I'll send him a message and say, okay, Saturday morning, finish my long run. Gerald's video is up and I'm going to foam roll. So that's my Saturday morning routine. So I always look forward to Gerald's videos on Saturday morning. He had a great one this morning, which was stretching and mobility. So that was good today. Brian, hello. Your box is on the way if you haven't gotten it yet. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Steph, can you do a video maybe about different smoothie recipes? You know what? I did a while back. Just some of my favorite things that I put in my smoothies, generally speaking. So what do I put in my smoothies? So recently, and it changes up depending on, you know, whether or not I get sick of my smoothie, because I will have the same smoothie every morning. after my workout until I'm sick of it. So now I have, I'm putting in 2 cups of almond milk, a half cup of Greek yogurt, unsweetened Greek yogurt. I will typically put a scoop of protein powder. I also put in a powder called BCAA. This is branched chain amino acids. Big words, heavy concept, lots of science. I'm actually going to do a video on this when I get my brain in gear and figure out what that actually does. Both my nutritionist and my coach said, you know, this is good. So do the branched chain amino acids, the BCAA powder. Okay, I'll do it. I have no idea what it does, but I know it's good for you. So look for a video about that coming up. I also put in something called MCT oil, which is low in saturated fats, high in that omega-3 fat. And it really does, it actually boosts your metabolism a little bit. Your brain uses fat to function. So if you've ever been on a low-fat diet and kind of feel like you're not quite with it, our brains need the carbohydrates and the fats to function properly. So I put a little bit of MCT oil in there. It's not inexpensive, but all you need is like a tablespoon in there. What else do I put in there? I will take a handful of strawberries or a banana and then some ice. And I blend all of that up, and that's my breakfast. What I did notice though, with that particular recipe, it's pretty low in carbohydrates for a post-workout smoothie. So I'm trying to figure out ways I can add carbohydrates in there. When is it? I know coming up in a couple of, next week, I do have a video coming up about recovery foods. So watch for that one next Sunday, not tomorrow, next Sunday, because I do talk about some of these things. I was drinking a smoothie called the key lime smoothie. I get a lot of these recipes from my nutritionist. This one had almond milk, Greek yogurt, some lime juice, and maybe some lime zest if you're feeling artistic about it. Throw some lime juice and lime zest in there. And then avocado, like a half of an avocado. Now, for me, avocados go bad so quickly and I just forget about them. You can make avocado ice cubes. And I know that sounds super weird, but you buy a bunch of avocados. When they're ripe, you shell them, you take you peel them, you take the seed out, you throw all of the avocado in a food processor with just a little bit of lemon juice, maybe a teaspoon of lemon juice per avocado. You process that up and you get this green guacamole looking goo. You put it in ice cube trays, all right? And then you freeze it. Then all of a sudden you have ice cubes for your avocado cubes for your smoothie. And it's really interesting. I love putting avocado in my smoothies because it really makes it creamy. You don't notice too much of that flavor, like the avocado flavor. They're very mild, very buttery. So it makes it just super creamy. That was the key lime smoothie that I was drinking for a while. I was drinking very similar, and I'm just gonna spend another couple minutes on this before I scooch on to the next thing. The basic formula for me for a smoothie is 2 cups of some kind of fluid. And it's usually almond milk or coconut milk. A low calorie, low carb milk of some variety. I don't put dairy milk in it. Unless I'm, completely out of everything else. I don't put dairy milk in it. I put either Greek yogurt or a scoop of protein powder. Lately, I've been doing both in there. I will put some kind of fruit or vegetable in there. I will put, I've started adding the BCAA powder to that and some ice. That's the basic recipe. I have always enjoyed playing with smoothie recipes just to kind of say, oh, I've got this, maybe I'll throw this in there. And then, this, that, and the other. I will probably do another smoothie video where I review some of my favorites and talk about what is in there. Again, I have noticed that there aren't quite enough carbohydrates in the smoothies that I'm doing now. So I need to find a way to add that without adding a lot of sugar. So I know that I was using oatmeal. You would use rolled oats. You throw that in with a vanilla smoothie, and that's actually pretty good. So I will look into doing another smoothie recipe video here, Steph. And you've done the avocado thing. Yeah, it's good, right? It's good. Okay, once again, guys, throw in some questions. Hi, Reese Whitaker from Wales. Very good. It's like dinner time where you guys are. For us, it's just about lunchtime. Another question, I'm going to go back over to Facebook. John Duffy said hi on Facebook. He dropped this one into my Grace and Pretzels page. Hang on. How much rest time should you take between half marathons? I would like to run Baltimore 4 weeks after my first half marathon in September. Is that too soon? I will say no, it's not too soon as long as you are recovering from that first half marathon properly. That's where you're going to start listening to your body. One rule of thumb that you may or may not have heard is for every mile of racing, you take a day off. So for a half marathon, you're talking 2 weeks. But when I say off, I don't necessarily mean off, like sitting on the couch for that 2 weeks. Definitely take the first 3 or 4 days off. If you're still sore, don't do anything. If your legs are hurting you, if your joints are hurting you, take the few days off after, hydrate, refuel properly, take time off, just get yourself out of the training game for a couple of days and just relax, right? So if you do that to start and then work your way back up to, I don't even know that you need to do a full, 13 or 14 mile long run again until you hit that second half marathon. I'm not a coach, okay? You know what? I want to ask, is my coach in here? Hey, Christine, if you're in here, give us a shout. If not, I know she just recently subscribed to my channel, so she might be able to correct me. When she plans my in-between periods, so if it's, I finished a marathon, or the half marathon, excuse me, the prairie dog that I finished a few weeks ago, I took 3 days off completely, no running whatsoever. I didn't do another run until Tuesday. I did an easy, super easy 3 mile run, and it hurt. It wasn't fun. I got out there and I warmed up a little bit, but it was a slog through that first 3 miles. I was still very tired and very sore. Listen to your body on that. Again, don't push pace. So that first week, if you have 4 weeks in between your half marathons, that first week you're taking half that week off. Then you're taking the second half and doing nothing hard. Shorter runs, easier runs, slow down by minutes per mile over what your normal race pace is. And then as you go, because you're going to want to taper that last week before the second half marathon, you're going to be doing the same thing, letting all of the work that you're going to do in that middle 2 weeks, that last week before the half marathon, you want to start taking it easy again. Let all of the work that you've done start to set, okay? So in that 2 weeks, you might do whatever you've been doing for your training so far, kind of repeat the weekday runs. So if you've done, whatever you did 3 weeks ago, do that again, okay? I would suggest that your long run doesn't need to be any longer than 10 miles. So week 1, maybe your longest run, the first week after your first half marathon, Your longest run is 6 miles. The next one, your long run, is 8 miles. The next one, a week out from your next half marathon, maybe do 10 miles and then taper. Okay. The other thing too, in that 4-week period is recovery. Your recovery is crucial here. Do your foam rolling. Make sure your strength training in that middle 2 weeks. Keep your foam rolling up. Keep your strength training up. Whatever you are doing to help yourself stay strong. No strength training that first week after the first half marathon. No strength training during taper. Okay. I have seen the crab medal. John is saying that he's going to do the Baltimore, and I have seen that medal. That is a really, really cool medal. So that is just how I feel about it. Again, if you have any questions or concerns about this, go by how it feels. If after that first half marathon you are done and need to take the full week off, do it. It's hard to recover properly, and there is just such a fine line, and we can overdo it really fast, or we can not do enough and not be ready for that next one. Just listen to your body and make sure you're eating some good recovery foods, lots of protein, and fueling yourself properly, getting a lot of good sleep. As long as you're doing that 4 weeks isn't that big a deal. I think it's actually, you're kind of riding the wave. So you've been training. You did this first half marathon. You've got just a short dip before you're ready. You haven't had time to lose a lot of that fitness. So I think that's a really great way to do that. So thank you, John, for that. Lindsay, I have had a hard time doing an easy or slow run. My brain doesn't know how to tell, oh, honey, my brain doesn't know how to tell my body to ease up for certain runs. Any tips? The short answer is just keep trying. And I know that's like the worst answer ever. Lindsay, this is something that last year, if you saw me a year ago, when I was when I was really trying to embrace this heart rate training, I was so frustrated every dang morning. It was 4 weeks in, and I felt like I was making some progress, but I had one morning where my heart rate, because what heart rate was doing for me is that we had to stay under 140 beats per minute. Just try it and see how frustrating that is, okay? The slow, okay, so Lindsay, you elaborate. My slow, easy runs end up being my PR for minutes per mile. Drives me nuts. Yeah. Again, it goes back to listening to your body, but for me, it's taken me a year to really get into this groove of what's easy. And now when my hard runs, like I was telling you guys earlier, those hard runs, the tempo run I did this week, it was tough. It was super hard because you're turning your legs over faster, your heart rate's higher, and you have to maintain that. But the easy pace is something you should just be able to kind of do all day long. The other thing I would suggest for you, Lindsay, would be, look at your data. If you are capturing your data on some kind of device, if you have a Garmin or a Fitbit that takes heart rates, look at paces. I don't know what kind of data you are tracking. If you don't have a heart rate monitor, it's a good investment, and they can be a pain in the neck. So we can talk about that too. Again, I don't care for the chest strap. I know that you can get a heart rate monitor for your forearm, which may or may not be more accurate. I think if you are going to track that heart rate data, that's a good place to start, because you can compare average heart rate during whatever effort and the pace. And if the pace and the heart rate are a little skittywampus. So how do I explain this? So let's say, for example, my easy runs come in around 150. That's my median, okay? My average pace for that 150, depending on the weather, which also affects it, my easy pace is about 13-minute miles, 13:30. You're using Runkeeper. I honestly, I don't know anything about it. I know that it's a good app to start out. And I think, you know, if you want to invest in a good device, honestly, there are so many good devices out there, and I can give you some recommendations. But yeah, definitely do your research. Go to a run store and ask about what kind of devices they would recommend. So how do you slow down? I think the best thing I can say in a nutshell is to slow down so much that it's almost uncomfortable. Okay. So you can be jogging along and feel great. And then if your Runkeeper gives you a pace, challenge yourself to take it back about a minute and see how that feels. And yes, you might feel like you're walking at that point. In the Train Like a Mother Club, we call that the slow shuffle, because we don't like to call it a jog. There are a few runners out there that just can't stand the word jog. I certainly don't mind it. I think it's just kind of relative. You know, there's running, there's that effort level of running, and for all of us, it's a different pace. Then there's jogging, which is a little slower, again, relatively speaking, against the run. And then there's the shuffle, which you're barely picking your feet up off the ground and you're just kind of shuffling along and do. That's the only thing I can really recommend, is just see how slow you can make that run pace-wise without actually having to slow down to walk. If you ever get a heart rate monitor, start tracking your heart rate at pace. And you're not going to find that every single run at the same pace is going to be the same heart rate. Because like I said, weather affects it, stress, sleep, what you're eating, all kinds of things affect how, all kinds of things affect how your heart rate reacts. So right now I'm sitting here, let's see what my heart rate is doing. Right now I'm sitting here, okay? It's warm in here. My heart rate is right now telling me it's over 100. It's sitting at about 125 because I'm talking. I have high energy. I'm under a little bit of stress because I'm live. I mean, this is performance here, right? So my heart rate's a little bit elevated. All of these things, external factors, are affecting my heart rate. There's something that happens. I also tend to not breathe. Breathing helps your heart rate. Just breathe. Okay. Good. You'll try that out, see what happens, and let me know. Report back. Let me know what you think about that. Yes, Gerald does have Gerald over at Res Runs. The one on his arm is very accurate, and I'm curious. I really do want to try it and see what happens with that. Yes, easy runs. Thank you, Debbie, for this. You are very right in saying, listen to your body. Those easy runs are very important after long races. John, going back to your question, those are for so long. I would get through a training plan, and this is where I think a lot of us struggle. Let me know if this is a problem you guys have or a struggle you guys have. You get through the training, you're training, race. Now what? And then you just sit on the couch for a while, and it's hard to get back into the groove. Once that race is over, you kind of have that post-race let down, and there's not a lot that you kind of feel is worth getting up for. That happened to me a lot. So every time I had a race, I would be done with it and I would sit. And I would sit too long, and I wouldn't work hard enough in between or within that first few weeks after a race. I couldn't get that wave started. I couldn't get that flywheel going again. So I lost quite a bit of fitness in between races. If anybody's ever struggled with that, let me know, because I know that there have been some big races, and if you get to a certain point and you just don't know what to do with yourself in that maintenance period between races, that can be a challenge. Okay, guys, I have about 20 minutes. Throw more questions at me. If you are here and haven't done so yet, hit that thumbs up. Let's see. Here is it. While I'm waiting for you guys to come up with some questions. Here's what's coming up on Veda this week. Like I said, so far so good. We're 12 days in. I have put 12 videos up. We've got another good week coming for you. Let's see. I have to think what is happening this week. Tomorrow is Sunday, and that's nutrition. So we're talking about caffeine. How awesome caffeine is. Actually, yeah. Caffeine's just good for runners. And I'm going to show you why tomorrow. Then that's Sunday. What's Monday? Monday is Run Disney. If anybody in here is doing the Disneyland Half Marathon coming up in a few weeks, leave something in the chat so I know. That event guide just came up. If you've seen any of my event guides before, you know that I have maybe way too much fun with them. But Monday, I have the event guide, summary, recap, and I'm using those words loosely. But on Monday, I had I did have Laura from Joyful Miles join me, and we talked about the event guide. Offered up a lot of great tips for the Disneyland Half Marathon. Laura and Jackie from Joyful Miles are headed over there for that race, and they're doing all 3 of those races, which is fantastic. I'm very excited and very jealous of them for that. But that event guide summary is coming up on Monday. Tuesday, someone asked me, and I think this is coming up on Tuesday, because I know I kind of threw it together because it was important. Someone asked me, how do you get motivated to do this all the time? Running, training, day after day after day. How do you get yourself motivated? And it really got me thinking, you guys. I had really sat down and I thought about it. It's so many times you guys ask such great questions that I haven't thought about in years, because I've been doing this long enough that this is my new normal. So Tuesday, I have a video coming up about how to motivate yourself, how to start that. Like I keep calling it the flywheel, how to get that started and make it your new normal. So you get up in the morning and you go out for a run. You go from changing your language. You go from saying, oh, I have to go running today, to I get to go running today. So instead of saying, ugh, I have to go out and I have to do 6 miles, or, oh, wow, it's a 6-mile run today. That's going to be great. It's a beautiful day. It's just as much about, it's just changing the attitude a little bit, but it's also about using tools and the people around you to motivate you. And there's a why. You want to find a why. Why are you doing this in the first place? So I'm talking a lot about that on Tuesday. Wednesday, I am doing a how-to video on how to program your Garmin in Garmin Connect. So that if you have a workout that has several steps, like if it's an interval workout, I'm going to show you how kind of the ins and outs of those, of creating a workout in Garmin. Thursday, it's a throwback to the day that I can look back on about 10 years ago, 9 years ago, and say, that's the day I became a runner. So Throwback Thursday. Friday is my favorite YouTube videos. Guys, that one made me so mad because I had so many YouTube videos. I shot it once and I wasn't happy with it. And then because I included too many or not enough, or there were some that I missed. And then I shot it again and same thing happened. I just wasn't happy with it and I had to change my mind again. Finally, I shot it our third time, favorite YouTube channels coming on Friday. Done. And then Saturday, I don't know if I'm going to do another live video, but we will see. So you will hear from me later this week as to whether or not I'm going to do another live video next Saturday. Okay, questions from you guys. Any suggestions on how to make it through long distances alone? If you are doing these alone stuff, get a really an engaging book, audiobook, fun music, podcasts. I personally save my Another Mother Runner podcast for my long runs. Today it was actually perfectly timed. The podcast this week was about prehab, and I'm going to do a video on this too, about foam rolling, what to foam roll, and all of this stuff. And it was exactly it was exactly an hour and 20 minutes, which is about how long it takes for me to do a 6-mile run. So it was perfect. That's what I used. I always save one special podcast for my long runs, and keep your favorite ones. Make it engaging. I know what's a good one. There are two. Wait, Don't Tell Me from NPR. If you want to kind of follow along, that's a game show type. Another one is Mike Rowe. If you guys know him from Dirty Jobs, he has a new podcast out. It's just a few minutes long, but there are a lot of them. He's been doing this now for about 6 months. He has a weekly podcast that's very similar to Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story. Mike Rowe, The Way I Heard It. So they're engaging, and you're trying to guess like what he's talking about for that 5-10 minutes. So those are really fun. If you haven't heard of those, make it engaging. And those, the long runs can get hard and tedious, even if you've been doing this for years. There are still those days, like I look at a 15-mile run and I'm thinking, what am I going to listen to? How to make it through long distances. Again, the way I do that sometimes too is I chunk it up. I break up the long run into chunks. If you look at a 12-mile run and you go out and you come back, that's actually 2 6-mile runs. So you can trick your brain. I did a video on this actually on the 2nd. So if you kind of go back down my video page of a couple of weeks, you'll see what that looks like. I just kind of walk you through all of my strategies for getting through the long run stuff if you haven't seen that. And if you're talking about races, have a friend. Races can be hard unless you're really working for a PR, you're really challenging yourself. Find ways to keep your focus, for every minute of that 2 hours or whatever it's going to be, just keep that focus, which is hard to do. I still don't have it. But if you're talking about like the half marathon, marathon distance races, if you're talking Run Disney, that's, you bring a friend or make a friend. I will throw this out there. I'm looking for people to basically save me a dance for the races in November at Superheroes and at Walt Disney World. I want to run with someone. So when we get closer, I'm definitely going to start talking to you guys about that. Oh, more about races. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Steph. I would say, find an entertaining race, an engaging race. Rock and roll events are good. Disney races are great because there is something going on at every mile marker. And I think the marathon is the hardest. And I don't know that I have the secret to that one yet. I know the last half marathon I did for time was, I mean, it kicked my butt. I had a plan to finish in under 2:15, and I did. I set my PR at 2:12:59, but every minute of that was a slog. I had a podcast, not, excuse me, I had a playlist that was about 30 minutes too short. And I ran out of music. And I was kicking butt. I really was going super fast. And it was right at about the time that I started feeling a little disheartened. I ran into someone, a volunteer from the expo that I knew through the Another Mother Runner tribe. And I'm like, John, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. And she looked at me because I'm wearing a Mother Runner t-shirt, tank top. And she's like, oh my gosh, you look fantastic. Keep running, keep running. And that just kind of boosted me. I think if you're also talking about races, have someone on the course, if you can, holding a sign, read the signs. You'll see some fun signs. Take notes of those. There are some really funny ones. One of my favorites, and I'm just going to do a couple of these because Lindsay asked another question. You know, you're at mile 17 of a marathon. Someone's holding up a sign. Now is not the time to trust a fart. Sorry, I know it's a family show, but seriously, like that one had me almost doubling over laughing so hard. If you see me collapse, pause my Garmin. That's normally that's normally for the actual runner. Let the crowd push you along. Cheerleaders are great. Bands are great. Dance along. It's pretty tough to find a baby. Okay, so Steph, trying to find more local races, it's pretty tough to find a babysitter that early in the morning. You're right. The only BRF that I have is my hubby. That's hard. That's hard. And yeah, I'm assuming you're laughing at the fart one. Yeah. That's hard because I don't typically run with people. I always run alone. I always do my races alone. But let the crowd kind of move you along. Random strangers, there are people standing out there for other people that are really supportive of everyone out there. So I love it when there's a band playing. I love it when there are cheerleaders out, dance teams. Those are good. All right, guys, I hope that helped you. 8 minutes left. No, seriously, like I am going to try to make this. I know, let's see, Lindsay had a question. Where did she go? Fun question. After seeing the total revamp of the wine and dine medals, are your expectations high for the anniversary? I hadn't thought about it. Are your expectations high for the anniversary medals for marathon weekend? You know, it's interesting. I am not motivated by the bling. I like the bling. I do like the bling. I have my favorite medals. Let's see. Lindsay, that's a great question. What are my expectations for the medals? I saw, if you guys haven't seen them yet, the Disneyland half marathon medals are up and they are cool. I really like those. The wine and dine ones just kind of left me feeling, okay, yeah, they're kind of cool. Again, I'm not motivated by the medals themselves. They don't make me go there. The medal, what inspires the medals for me is the fact that, okay, I just worked my butt off to get that medal. It's kind of the token of the achievement, if you will. But yeah, let's see, what do I expect from the marathon medals? Marathon weekend medals, I think they're all gonna look fairly similar because marathon weekend, the theme doesn't really change. It's all about the big five. So you have Pluto for the 5K, Minnie 10K, Donald half, Mickey marathon, Goofy for the race and a half, and then Dopey. So they're all going to be variations on a theme. I know the Dopey medals have been very similar. They do change them. They do change them from time to time. Well, they change them every year, but only slightly. Of course, they change the date. They might change how the, the positioning on. I'll have to think about that, Lindsay, because that's good. You don't want a spinner? Yeah, they seem to break. You know what? I only have a couple of those. I have the prairie dog that I just did, and I have the Avengers from Superhero Weekend. One of those medals is a spinner. Oh man, Steph, that's a really good point. I can only imagine the marathon medal will be the size of a manhole cover, and it should be. I mean, when we work this hard, I think the size of the medal, right, should show the effort put behind it. Yes, you're absolutely right. All right, guys, I got about 5 minutes left. Any other questions? Bradley, welcome. I saw that you were in here, so welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for watching those marathon weekend recaps. You were there for the half. Bradley, did you just sign up for the half? And I don't mean just like only sign up for the half, but were you just signed up for the half and then they canceled that on you? Oh, that's heartbreaking. Let's see. And you love the Star Wars cups. If there's a bucket list item, guys, it's that Star Wars Dark Side. That is on my bucket list for sure. Let's see, what else can you wish you were doing marathon weekend? Yeah, I know. I wish you were too, actually. Okay, yeah, just the half. So you had an interesting weekend, didn't you? That was an awful morning. That was an awful day. So Friday night, Bradley, you saw my recaps on that. So I got my fiance proposed Friday night. So, and right about within 10 minutes, they had canceled the half, like just before he proposed. And so it really dulled the ache and took the sting away a little bit for me. But if I didn't have that, I would definitely feel very differently about that weekend. When it comes to did you actually participate in the full then? Because I know they gave the option to participate in the full if you wanted. I know there were a lot of options if you had signed up for the half to either participate in the full or get a gift card to compensate for that. So yeah, guys, that's about all I had. Again, there's a lot coming up. There's still more coming up this week from this channel. Gosh, I'm just trying to think where, also I have created this website, gofindyourawesome.com. It is really, it's not designed to be a blog separate from these videos, this YouTube channel. It is a place to go. Oh, I gotcha. It's a place to go to find more information about a particular topic. If I want to do this right, if I want to do, the videos right, they do need to stay a little bit shorter. I love these Q&As because I can engage with you guys. But when it comes to the amount of information that's out there and the questions, the amazing questions you guys keep asking me, and please keep those questions coming, I need another place to put that information. I can vlog every day and still answer a lot of those questions, but with normally only 2 videos a week, maybe 3, that's harder to do. So if you want more information, please head over to gofindyourawesome.com. There is a link in the description. So Bradley, you deferred to the 2018 Star Wars Dark Side race. I'm so jealous. So that's a good race. Gerald Resnick has done that one a couple of times. It's probably his favorite race. Again, that's on my bucket list, guys. Oh, can't stand it. It's taking everything. And you did the 2017 Star Wars Dark Side Challenge. Man, that race looked like fun. That just looked like so much fun. All right, guys, if you haven't already, give me a thumbs up. I'm going to sign off here in a couple more minutes. But I want to thank you guys so much for being here, for all of your questions. Again, with every single questions you got, every single question, I want to make sure that you guys get the information you want. Please let me know if there's more you want from this channel. If you have suggestions about any future videos, that would be great. I am always looking for content. I might have a huge idea pool, but I think right now all I want is to engage with you guys, answer questions, meet you guys at races, and just get to know you guys better. I love seeing the same names come back up in the chat. It's just so much fun seeing some of you guys in the comments. Check out my Grace and Pretzels page on Facebook if you like that page. Oh, see, it says I'm done. Guess what? Okay. I'm not quite done. So yeah, head over to my Grace and Pretzels page. I'm on Instagram. You can always tweet me questions at Grace_Pretz. Always on Facebook, leave comments here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Lindsay, what'd you say? I'm trying to convince my boyfriend to do Star Wars with me. He literally looks identical to John Boyega. Ooh, would be hilarious to make him dress like Finn for the run. Oh yeah, we'll you know, Lavender Stripes, thank you for jumping in. You and Gerald should collaborate. We are, somehow. We're going to figure something out. Gerald and I and Laura with Joyful Miles, we have a meetup that's happening at Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend. That is happening on Friday, January 5th, sometime in the afternoon, sometime on the boardwalk. Yeah, hoping you open up more spots in Walt Disney World, get a redo. I know, it's kind of like you get a mulligan on that one, right? And Gerald and I, between Laura and Gerald and I, we really have a lot of collaborations kind of cooking up. A lot coming up this fall because Dopey Challenge training is really going to start picking up for a lot of us in the next few weeks. So look for that at some point. I'm not exactly sure when. We don't have that nailed down yet. But yeah, Gerald and I, we're definitely going to do something. I don't know. It might just end up being like some kind of lip sync battle. I don't know. That would be fun. Okay, you've got to, okay. So if anybody likes that idea, or if you think I'm totally off base, you don't have to do this. But if you want us to lip sync battle, we should totally just go over to Gerald's page and say, yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah, right, lip sync battle. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. And with that, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to sign off now. Go enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you very much for being here, asking great questions. Again, I will let you guys know if I do this again soon. And get out there. Go find your awesome. Until next time, bye. Happy running.